In the Canadian Rocky Mountains rises North America's largest river that flows into the Pacific Ocean. It is 1,243 miles long from the headwaters to the Pacific Ocean. A lifeline that irrigates the deserts, provides hydroelectrical power, and last but not least, provides food. The Columbia River. In 1792, the American captain Robert Gray wintered on the coastal areas between today's Washington and Oregon. On May 11th, he decided to sail his ship through a wide surf. Maybe that was the discovery of the legendary West River. Anyway, it was the discovery of the Columbia River, named by Robert Gray after his ship, the Columbia. Near the city of Astoria, Oregon, the Columbia River flows into the Pacific. And here, the more than 4 miles long Astoria Bridge is spanning the Columbia, connecting the states Oregon and Washington, whose border the river on his past 300 miles forms. The bridge is part of the famous Highway 101, the north-south link that runs along the entire Pacific coast between Washington and California. Volcanic activities shaped the landscape before unimaginable 16 to 5.5 million years. Well, I cannot tell exactly how many million years, but more than 100 large floods of lava covered this region during that time span and created an almost 1.5 miles thick layer of basalt, the Columbia Plateau. Before the last ice age ended, the river broke through the Cascade Range, and in its watershed, huge floodings happened because of the continuously breaking ice. This in turn led to a deposition of large sediment layers that made the soil fertile. Even today, agriculture in the eastern part of Washington state, as well as the southern part of British Columbia, the Okanogan Valley, is still based on it. Irrigation is done by irrigation systems that are fed by the Columbia and its tributary streams. Yeah, even wine grows good here, watered with water from the Columbia River. Cheers. Yep, that is the way positive energy flows. In this case, hydroelectrical energy. There are many dams along the Columbia River that produce electrical power. Some dams create reservoirs with superior recreational value, as here the Revelstoke Dam in Canada. This kind of clean power production has one negative aspect, because the dams impede the salmon's seasonal migration. But fish ladders solve this problem. In one of the most modern fish hatcheries at the Columbia, the Chief Joseph Hatchery, Brenda explains to me all the high-tech.
This is our fish ladder. So our ladder comes out down here, or from the river, and the fish come up here and they are held into this area down here. And then once it gets pretty full, there's a concrete building there, right here. We push them in there. There's a grate that lifts them, and our fish hatchery, the staff will go in there and sort through them. They will go in there, they will sort through the wild fish, the hatchery fish, and any other origin fish. So any origin fish or wild fish, they will put back into the ocean. Any hatchery fish, they'll knock it on the head and they'll put it in and put it on ice.
But how can you know this is a wild fish, this is a hatchery fish, this is from this and this hatchery?
Each salmon is clipped on the adipose fin. So that's this fin right here.
Yeah.
And so when they're young, they're about this size right here.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we have a machine, it's called a marking trailer, and it'll clip their adipose fin and also tag them in the nose with a coated wire tag.
Oh.
It's a tiny little sliver of a tag that goes inside their nose, and it has numbers on it. And it links those numbers are linked to this hatchery, the Chief Joseph Hatchery.
I see, yeah.
And that's at every hatchery. So each hatchery has its link of numbers.
I see, yeah.
So you can tell the difference between a wild fish and a hatchery fish is this adipose fin right here. Mm-hmm. When it's not present, that's a hatchery fish.
I see.
When it's present, that's a wild fish. And everybody needs to throw back the wild fish because we want to keep the wild salmon, all the wild
to reproduce.
Yes, to reproduce, so that we keep that genetic strong. And then the hatchery fish, you can surplus them and eat them.
Mm-hmm. Up to 4 million eggs can be in the incubator at the same time.
This is a tray of spring Chinook female prey. This is what they look like. The ones that are white are not ones that were able to get fertilized. They didn't take to being fertilized. So what will happen is they'll put it through an egg sorter, and there's a machine that will sort through them and then get rid of those ones.
All those little ones have to grow now, and to make that happen, they need to be fed with pressed krill that comes in different sizes of pellets, from almost powdery for the very little fishies to pellets for the bigger ones. All gets documented and weighted. About 2 million salmon grow in those tanks every year. If they are 4 inches long, they get marked, chipped, and off through the tube from the tanks into the river. Now they're just on their own and swim west as long as they reach the Pacific Ocean. Between 2 and 4 years they remain in the salt water, depending on the kind of salmon. What happens during that time, who knows? Many are out to seek their lives. Professional fishermen, anglers, not to forget predators. Finally, if they survive, they return exactly to the place where they once got fertilized as a tiny salmon egg. The time of their life is here, and they are eager to spawn and know nothing else than reproducing for the price of their lives, for a new generation of their kind. They are exhausted, also very well known by others, and the salmon become an easy prey. The feast begins. The salmon have no chance to escape, and it seems as if the seagulls are yelling out the news of an inexhaustible source of food along the entire river. Their call was heard far away and found many open ears. Too bad for the salmon. Good luck for the bear. It is late fall. The big feast almost over. Here and there you spot a grizzly bear who is still hungry for salmon. He needs to build up more fat for the coming winter for his hibernation. And all the dead salmon? They also fulfill a task. Their dead bodies dragged by animals into the forest, also the animals' excreta, they fertilize the forest soil. Here, far up north at the river's beginning. Further down south in Washington and Oregon, the sky is still blue and the fall shows its beautiful colors. Here at the Columbia Gorge. A large white gorge, also a result of massive lava flooding millions of years ago, and it was formed at the end of the last ice age by massive ice floods. Waterfalls line the gorge along Highway 30 in Oregon, including one of the tallest waterfalls of the United States, Multnomah Falls. In the 18th century, there was a huge landslide, the Bonneville Slide, in the Columbia Gorge at the Cascade Locks. This landslide created a land bridge that the Native Americans called the Bridge of the Gods. Many different Indian legends exist about this event. Someday, the land bridge was washed away by the Columbia. Since 1926, spans a modern steel bridge this point, the new Bridge of the Gods that connects Oregon and Washington. The Columbia is even navigable for ocean-going vessels, but only from its mouth to the ports Longview and Vancouver, Washington, and to Portland, Oregon. The ships transport, among other goods, wood or wood chips to all the paper mills and to the sawmills along the riverside. Wood, or better forestry, plays a huge economic role. But forestry That is another interesting story from the Pacific Northwest.
Down her wild mountains and canyons she flew, Canadian Northwest to the ocean so blue. It's roll on, Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Your power is turning our darkness to dawn.